Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
We are back yet again for another stream. I got to warn you, I'm a little bit out of it. I've had a very busy weekend. I've been traveling. My wife and I celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and then we went to a wedding that I was in, and that was last night. And then I drove like 8 hours today. I got home about an hour and a half ago. So I gotta let you know, I'm kind of dragging.
Well, I'm sure it'll be just fine.
And I'm also wearing my Family Corner shirt.
I know. Did you wear it all day?
Yes.
Was it a comfy driving shirt?
Yeah, I also wore it driving all the way on on Thursday as well.
Oh, so don't sit too close to Coury right now, I
Yeah,
guess.
might be a little stinky, but nobody's here to notice and call me out on it, so it's okay. I was the best man in the wedding, believe it or
Oh, wow.
not. It was my friend Greg, who I have known since kindergarten.
Wow.
He was
That's pretty crazy.
the person that I sold my Sega Master System to when I got my
Oh, and then
Genesis, and then he sold it back to me for like $50 with like all of the games that he had bought plus all the games that I had sold him, and then I ended up trading a lot of those games, unfortunately, and I wish that I didn't, and because one of those games was Golden Axe Warrior.
Oh.
I know.
Oh.
But my wife and we went to this resort, kind of nearish Buffalo, and it was pretty cool. It's kind of like this older resort, and there's like like a pool, hot tub, like a restaurant and bar. It's during the winter, it's like mainly like a ski resort kind of place, but I had never realized that it was open during the summer as well, and it was pretty cool. And without the kids, my wife went to bed at 8:30 and slept the entire night. She's like, "This is great." She said, "I've never had such a good anniversary present, being able to go to sleep and sleep uninterrupted for 10 hours." But it was cool.
Wow.
What about you? What have you been doing? You got a new
I've
camera
been
angle.
Yeah, did I not have this camera here last week?
Did you really? Yeah, you did.
I
That's right. I
don't
think.
remember. Yeah, but I mean, I've been rearranging my setup and kind of finally got everything basically in place this morning. Really, the only there's just a few wires I want to tidy up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a VGA extension for my Dreamcast so it can get to the OSSC. And I need some new, slightly longer Saturn and Genesis cables. But otherwise, pretty much I got everything ready to go. Plus, I need my chair to be delivered. It'll be delivered on Thursday. So, but yeah, it's pretty well ready to go. I'll probably sit over there for most streams, at least most streams that Coury's streaming. So you probably won't see this angle much unless I'm playing on the OLED. But I think the way things are set up, it'll kind of encourage me to play on the PVMs a lot more, especially for streams, because all I have to do is like turn around from where the editing monitor will be. I'll just swivel the chair around and there are the PVMs. So
yeah, it's kind of an interesting looking setup over there.
It's a little weird because the backs of the PVMs are not to the wall.
Yeah.
I think that would bother a lot of people, but I'm like, you know what? Like my life practically revolves around RGB video. Who am I to be ashamed of the backside of a PVM or two PVMs, as the case may be? So it's a little unconventional, but I realized it was going to be the best way to maximize my space, because if I were to put them along another wall, it would have pushed the chair too far out in the room, and it would have made it hard to get around. So this like kind of gives me the most open floor space in a way. But I'll probably do like a Periscope or maybe like a quick little Patreon video or something to sort of give a tour of how I've rearranged things. I think it's going to be really good. But I want to do that after I get my chair.
Right. Speaking of your life, you are officially full time on this channel as of tomorrow, right? As of right now, really.
So. I mean, if something catastrophic happens between now and the end of the stream, I am still covered under my employer's insurance. But
until
starting until like 11:59 tonight. Then tomorrow, is at midnight. Then I'm on new insurance that I pay for myself, I guess now. but yeah. So tomorrow, to celebrate, this is really a total coincidence, but like tomorrow is going to be my first weekday as just full-time MLiG. Not that I haven't been full-time MLiG, but
you've been full-time in your mind.
I've been full-time in my mind, but like it's my only full-time job. I mean, I've been putting more than a full-time job's worth of time into it, for the past, well, early on, maybe not so much, but, for the past many years, I definitely have put way too much time in all this. But, now it's going to be my only full-time job starting tomorrow. So in celebration of that, somehow completely coincidentally coinciding with the 5-year anniversary of the launch of My Life in Gaming.
Yep. 5 years ago tomorrow. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're going to tomorrow afternoon, probably starting around 1-ish, maybe 12:30 to 1, maybe. We're going to stream DuckTales Remastered, which was the first video we ever put out, a how to beat DuckTales Remastered. So I mean, my intent is just play through the whole game. I mean, I don't think I've played through it since I recorded the footage for that how to beat video. So I'll probably be a little rusty, but
it shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, I mean, we should be able to. Surely I can finish it within like 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, I bet you can finish it in under 2 hours.
You think? I mean, the levels are longer, and like the last level is
it's pretty tough.
Difficult if I recall.
But it's kind of cool. 5 years. Really quick.
5 years.
So I'm gonna be playing Messenger tonight. I was randomly selected to receive a download code for this game. I was gonna buy it anyways, but then I was like, I might just wait a little bit because I know that there is a physical copy coming, but I was selected to receive a download code, so I went ahead and downloaded it. I've tested it out a little bit, but I haven't played very far.
I think you sent me like a video clip or a trailer or something.
Right.
It looked pretty awesome. I don't really remember what it looked like. I mean, it's definitely like a Circle of the Moon-esque, or not Circle of the Moon. What, Curse of the Moon? Is that what the Bloodstain thing was called? NES style, modern indie game, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like Ninja Gaiden meets like a like Metroidvania style game, but I think it kind of changes. I guess there's kind of like a big shift towards like the middle of the game where it becomes something else.
Really? Do you know what it is?
Or maybe it becomes more Metroidvania because it starts out pretty straightforward.
Okay.
how you're able to view your Switch video footage. What is your setup? It's just running through capture setup, and I have a HD TV, a LG IPS LED monitor above my PVM that I usually play on. So that's how I'm playing it at this time.
Yes, we are not using like a one of those Switch capture kits like Digital Foundry got, where you could do the mobile mode or whatever. Is this only on Switch?
I think it is right now. It might be on PC, but I'm not exactly sure.
I'm not completely sure how authentic it is to the NES color palette, but it looks like it could be close.
Yeah, it's more like almost like
that
16-bit in a way.
I mean, I think it's just using a lot of shading.
Right.
Now that scrolling looks pretty smooth, although it's hard to tell. Can you tell if it's bound to the pixel grid, so to speak?
It's bound to the pixel grid.
Like sometimes some games, I'm trying to think of an example. I played something not long ago that was not. Well, like if you were to look up close, you could see that, like, for example, the background, like things shift like in accordance to the overall output resolution rather than like I don't know how to explain it, but like layers could, if you were to look up close, you would see that they weren't like lined up like within a pixel grid. Like something might be like halfway into the next pixel or something, you know, the way it might scroll.
I can't tell just like at a glance.
So you're not playing on your OLED. You're playing.
No,
you mount it above your PVM.
Right. Yeah. It just makes it easier for streaming purposes, I think.
Mm-hmm. So it's just is it a computer monitor?
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's a IPS, like whatever. I got it at Goodwill, and it's actually like kind of a really good one. It was like $45. I got it like 2 years ago, but it does, 1080p. And I put this here because I had a monitor here previously that only had like one input, but I like this one because I can run my computer to it as well, and there's like on separate inputs. It's just easier for me to like look at playback monitor for like Premiere. Previously it was like to the side on the wall, but now it just being here is kind of like in front of me, and it's easier for me to edit and work without turning my head completely the other way. I can kind of watch it, just shift my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is, I think, based on what I've kind of seen of this, is, this demon comes, you're kind of waiting for this hero to come, and he gets there too late. But then you have to take this scroll like as the messenger to like deliver it to someplace else.
To deliver what?
It says, I have a task of the utmost importance for you. Take this scroll and carry it across the island. You'll need to reach Glacial Peak Summit, where 3 stages will be waiting for you. So I've got to deliver this. I've got to be the messenger.
So you're supposed to just be the guy that like makes the hero show up?
Yes, essentially, or I think that he's probably gonna end up being the hero himself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. That's an interesting idea.
So you've been chosen to be the messenger, tasked with carrying the scroll across your cursed world. So the main like kind of gameplay hook is like the airwalk. Like, so if you attack something in the air, you can double jump off of it.
Oh, okay. I mean,
so you attack and then you can do another jump at any point. You see how I have like that?
Yeah. doesn't why am I drawing a blank on what it's called? Ori. Isn't Ori kind of like that, where you can like continue to get momentum based on like things that you like
If you attack,
sort of attack or jump off of?
Right.
I don't know if it's really attacking, but there's like, I think it's like on the Y button, there's like this move you can do that like get you another jump or something.
But it feels very smooth.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, Ninja Gaiden clearly looks like the most obvious influence, although I'm sure there's a lot of influence of various things. So is this a Western team that made the game?
As far as I know, yeah. I mean, I don't know too much about them. I probably should know more than.
Do you know when the physical copy is coming out, or is that not announced yet?
It's not announced exactly when it's coming out yet, but I know that they're waiting for it to be patched and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been a patch since it came out, though, as far as I know.
I mean, was there a patch, or
no? I mean, it's
patch? No patch at all.
There wasn't a patch since I've downloaded it, like the day it came out. There hasn't been a patch, but I think it is like version like 1.0.2. But that was like what it was at the day it came out. So I got
Edward Langley picked up a My Life in Gaming t-shirt. We saw someone wearing a My Life in Gaming t-shirt at Retro World for the first. We'd never seen like one of the ones that you can just order on demand in person.
See, now see now I got the climbing claws. It becomes even more like Ninja Gaiden.
Or, well, not so much like Ninja Gaiden 1, though, where you have to
jump
manually, jump.
I like that the messenger is named after me. Actually, like straight up uses my name.
Oh, does it automatically use like your Switch?
No, you put in your name. You put in the name at the beginning.
See, that would bother me. Like if I started the game and realized that it was using my real name in game, like as the character's name, like I would delete my I would delete my file and restart the game.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna die.
That kind of stuff really annoys me. Like I know our buddy Game Dave is
big fan of it, just like
is
being
way into the whole like naming your character thing, like naming it yourself. Like it's like a big deal. Like he always like points it out, like, oh, you can name your character in this game. Like when he saw Radiata Stories at Retro World, he was asking me, like, can you name your character in it? He was thinking about buying. He did buy it, but like, I was like, well, can you name your character? And I'm like, no, because there's voices and stuff. But the main character's name is Jack Russell. I'm like, that's awesome, right? He's like, it's kind of stupid. I'm like, no, it's awesome. I mean, it is stupid, but it's like intentionally stupid.
So
like,
it's
very much meant to be a humorous game.
There's no life system in this, but if you die, this little thing follows you around. It sends you back to the most recent checkpoint, and this thing follows you around and collects your currency items first until you have collected enough. Like it'll steal them. It'll steal them from you.
Interesting.
And I am playing this with the 8BitDo SN30 Pro controller, just because it just feels like a perfect game to be playing with that controller.
Yeah, the one with the analog. So you were using that in some of the B-roll in the Switch episode.
Yeah.
Originally, I put a line in the script saying like, well, we don't have the official. We don't have the official Nintendo NES controllers yet, but in the meantime, at least the 8BitDo are a decent approximation. But I just was like, who cares? It's not really relevant. A lot of people, I haven't really kept up lately with like if anyone feels they've like improved the D-pads. A lot of people really complain about the D-pads. Like is the D-pad in that one giving you any like?
No, I think it's pretty good. In general, like I feel like it's pretty good. The music becomes very muffled when you go underwater. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's neat. Like I use the 8BitDo controllers like either just because I have to run too far across the room or just out of convenience and quickness, but if I'm really going to be playing something that I want to feel exactly right, I will use the original controllers, but like I remember like testing like Contra, for example, like with one of the 8BitDo controllers, and like the diagonals are sometimes a little funky.
Oh yeah. I mean, like the NES one, like I was recording a lot of Mega Man footage this past week for something coming up, like an eventual episode, and I was running into like a lot of situations where I was accidentally sliding when I didn't mean to.
So would you not experience that with that particular 8BitDo controller?
I haven't experienced anything like that yet for this one.
Well, I mean, you've used it a fair bit though. Like you played all that NES stuff for the Switch episode that way.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's been pretty good, just in general. Like I think that it's improved compared to previous previous ones.
Yeah, we both have Switch Pro controllers. I've kind of I don't know how much I like it for D-pad games. Like at first I thought it was going to be just fine with it for D-pad games, but I don't know. Like,
well, it is because the D-pad on the early Pro controllers don't have like a central pivot, and I think that like causes a lot of problems.
Oh, like I mean, I don't know if it was so much because of control reasons, but like I played the Mega Man 11 demo on Switch and PS4, and I didn't really expect the PS4 version to have 4K support because it just seems like so many like smaller titles don't really support the PS4 Pro very well. But it does. It looks awesome on PS4.
I got a $1 donation from Rafalik 100. It says loved your PS2 episode. Thank you very much. That episode's almost a year old now.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's definitely one of the episodes I'm still the most proud of, for sure. But yeah, when I was playing the Mega Man 11 demo, like part of me wanted to get it on Switch just because Mega Man feels at home on Nintendo systems to me, but it was well, no, like the D-pad, like it's not that it was causing me control problems, it just didn't feel comfortable. Like it didn't feel like it would be comfortable to play that way for the length of the game.
I could understand that. I mean, that's why I think that when it comes to D-pad stuff, like I'll mainly use this.
Mm-hmm. But I kind of prefer to use like the Joy-Cons whenever I can. Or whenever it makes sense to over the Pro Controller. But like Splatoon 2, for example, I use the Pro Controller in that. Just feels right to me. I know a lot of people like to play that with the Joy-Cons because you only have to move one, but I never got my Joy-Cons fixed, like to get the wireless booster suppressor or whatever the heck they put in. I never got around to doing that. Now I haven't really had problems with it lately, but like for a game like Splatoon, I mean, it happened often enough to me that would have interfered with that. I also like using it in Mario Kart. Like for some reason in Mario Kart, like I prefer using the Pro Controller because something about just the fast action in that game just felt, I don't know, weird using the Joy-Cons. But other games, Zelda, Mario Odyssey, I'm all about the separate loose Joy-Con configuration.
Makes me think of the Wii too much.
See, I love that. I always loved that. I always loved the, even though with the Wii they're tethered by a wire, with the Wii remote and nunchuck. I love that. Like I love it. Like I can just like kind of lay my hands at my side, like separated, like just very casually. Like it just feels like a very laid back way to play a game. I really enjoy it. I love that. I mean, that's very specifically one of the reasons I like the separate Joy-Con configuration.
Let's see if I can upgrade. So what kind of upgrades? Let's drop a globe that restores 1 key charge. Air recovery. Health recovery. I'll do this.
What HDMI 4K switcher would you recommend? To be entirely honest, none. None that I use. That's why in our 4K video, I kind of explained how I tried all these different things and ultimately ended up just getting a receiver that was equipped to handle that spec. I tried a monoprice Blackbird switcher, and I tried just a generic one on Amazon. Both had problems with like auto detect switching, and even when I was using right cables and everything, like would still occasionally get some drops. I actually used the cheaper one to route an additional 5 inputs to my 8 input monoprice switcher. But those are like 1080p sources that I'm doing that with. So it doesn't use the bandwidth improperly, and it works great with switching there. But like even when I wasn't like trying to pair it with a splitter, I still got occasional drops, like very occasional in most cases. But those were the two that I tried, and they were not 100% there for 4K 60 content. But the receiver, has caused me no problems with that. So if you're just switching, you could probably get away with, I think some people are recommending a few switchers in there. Apparently there's a StarTech one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm using that one that you recommended. I haven't had any real problems with it. But then again, I only have one.
Which one?
It's the one that kind of looks like my Kindio one that I
Oh,
got.
like that's right. You bought it before I like realized there was kind of I was having.
Yeah, I haven't
problems
had
with
any problems though with it. But then again, I only
it.
have
But
one.
yeah,
I only have one
have
4K
you-
system, anyways. But
right,
I haven't had
right.
any drops at all with my
The Xbox.
Yeah, my Xbox. Yeah.
So why are you routing it through that when you could just plug the Xbox directly into the?
Because I have something going into like every input on my switcher.
I mean, I prioritized like my PS4 Pro and my Xbox One X. Like I prioritized them having dedicated inputs on the DIN. Like,
it doesn't. I mean, I have too many other things full right now. I mean, everything is full right now with stuff. I have my OSSC and my FrameMeister going into separate ones. I have one switcher. I have two multi-switchers going into them. I have my PC going into one of them. I have a thing with like my Blu-ray player and stuff going into another one. Like it's all pretty, like everything is full. I think I have, actually, I think I have one spot open, but I'm saving that for when I get the retro tank, so I'll run that into its own.
Okay. With my new sort of rearranged setup, I've got 2 spare HDMI cables already run like to the far side of the room, because that's where my Xbox 360 and Xbox One X were. So yeah, I think there's 2 spare cables run over there now. They're already plugged into my monoprice switcher.
Mm-hmm.
My just regular monoprice switcher. And then I've got another one that's also plugged into the monoprice switcher. That I can just plug things in temporarily. If I'm just like testing a device or something,
Right.
Without being difficult to hook up. So that's kind of nice. I've already got some cables run for future expansion, as long as it's not 4K stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice. But like basically right now I'm using it's a 4K switcher, but I'm not using any 4K sources with it because I was having trouble using 4K sources on it at the time. But it's got the high def NES, the GameCube with the Eon. It's got NT Mini, 2 Super NTs, because one is like preset for Game Boy stuff. That's all going into that, and then that goes into the monoprice, and then also going into the monoprice, let me think, is Xbox 360. Let's see, how many things would that be in? It would be the monoprice, or the 5 input switcher, the Xbox 360, the Wii U, the PlayStation TV, and I think 3 spare cables. I must be forgetting something else. Unless there's another spare. No, that's plugged directly into the. Going into the DIN, and then is the 8 input monoprice switcher. The PS3, the PS4 Pro, the Xbox One X, the Switch, the Ultra HDMI, and one more thing going into it. Something's going into it.
Well, I guess if I had like a switcher that had however many inputs your monoprice has, I guess I could put a lot more systems, I guess, on one input. But right now I just have
Wait,
2.
you don't have an 8-input monoprice?
No.
I could have swore you did.
Nope. I just have 2 5-input ones. Press wow.
Can I comment on why I chose the specific DIN receiver I chose? Are there any cheaper options that I think would work? I think so, yes. The reason I chose that one was I knew that John Linneman used the Denon receiver and that it worked well with the OSSC. And that, you know, the much less expensive receiver I tried to buy previously was an Onkyo brand, and it did not work very well with the OSSC at all. So I returned that. So I was looking more seriously into Denon. You know, one of our Patreon supporters, who's a big audiophile, kind of helped me research, you know, some of the brands and models and stuff that would. He's very familiar with receiver brands and stuff, and he helped me research the features and stuff, which, you know, some of the features were like really buried on like the manufacturer websites and stuff, you know, like HDR10 support and stuff like that. And also that was how I learned that you need Zone 2, not just like another output if you want the audio to go with it. So yeah, I think it might be Denon. All of Denon's receivers might support HDR10 now, but I don't know if all the models on the market at that time last December did. But I think Denon later said that like all their receivers are going to support HDR10 now. So that, I mean, that was obviously a major consideration. The other thing was, it was the next model up from another model that would have worked. I believe it was I think it was the X2400H. I think that model would have worked. Its normal price was $800. The one that I bought at the time, the normal price was $1,000, but it was on sale for $800. So I was very upset at the time about spending that much money. But I also felt like I was completely stuck and unable to make my setup work the way I needed it.
You knew you just...
I was like so sick of like having trouble with the switchers and the splitters and stuff, and I just wanted things to work. I was over it, and I was just like, I have to do this, and thank goodness it all worked out. But I think the 2400H would have worked. I think it had I think it had HDR10. I think it has Zone 2. You know, there were a few extra features with the 3400H, but you know, nothing I really needed, but why not buy it because it was the same price. Although you just like a few weeks later got yours from like some sort of like overstock company online.
Right, just because I knew
you got it for like a lot cheaper, like $600 some, didn't you?
Yeah, it was definitely significantly cheaper, but you know, you don't really have the same kind of guarantee or warranty to that kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you were definitely nervous about if it would like show up at all.
Right, and it did, and you know, it works, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, I've been extremely happy with it. I mean, it's made my setup just work so much more smoothly. You know, I think I was kind of in denial for a long time that the switcher splitter setup wasn't really working the way I wanted it to, and I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out. I'll get it working right, and I never could. You know, even I was using, you know, the best cables I could, and you know, was still getting trouble with drops and handshakes and all kinds of issues like that I just could not defeat, no matter what configuration I tried. You know? So
that is interesting. I mean, I haven't had any problems with that switcher. I I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Well, maybe using it with the Denon receiver is better than, and two, you're doing shorter runs.
Right. Oh,
like,
yeah.
I was using the Monoprice premium certified cable as well, but it was longer run. That switcher. I don't know. It just. Another issue I was having was, some sparkly things that they were mostly really only visible on black screens, but I was having all kinds of issues with initially with insufficient cables, switchers and splitters not talking to each other, and at the end of the day, I think just having a receiver do it the way it's supposed to is the way to go. But I'm surprised you don't plug some other device into that switcher and just give the Xbox One X a dedicated Denon input. That's what I'd do.
I don't know, just because it's working. I think that I'm just going to save that free input right now for the retro tank when I get it. Oh, I guess I can't.
Oh, a free input on the Denon?
Yes. Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I guess that makes sense because it'll take less. It should take less time to sync to your screen if it's only going through the Denon.
Right.
So.
And that's the idea currently.
Any input on long run HDMI cables leading to a 40 or higher foot run. I think I'm really sold on the Monoprice premium certified cables because they aren't really any more expensive than other HDMI cables, and they just work for me. I mean, I had a lot of trouble with other cables until I tried those. I was doing a 30-foot run. I've moved my Xbox One X closer now, not because I was having problems, but just because it made sense with the way I'm rearranging my setup now. But it was a 30-foot run with two 15-footers coupled together with the Monoprice's Blackbird Pro whatever coupler. They've got a few couplers. Make sure it's the right one, that does 4K 60 and 18 gigabits, all that good stuff. So I use the two 15-footers. I think they sell much longer premium certified cables now. I think they go up to 20 or 25 now.
Yeah.
So you could probably just get two 20s or a 20 and a 25 or whatever you have to do and use the coupler. And I mean, assuming those longer run cables are as reliable as they're in theory supposed to be, based on the certification, it should work. I think there's you can also get like the cables with active circuitry that are supposed to supposed to boost the signal to carry over a longer distance. Like, it's the kind of cables that they're usually thinner than most cables, but you have to plug a certain end into the source and a certain end into the device on the other end. They're only one-way cables. I got one from Monoprice. It's called Redmere. And at first, in fact, there was a line originally in the 4K script that said, it seems to work just as well as the two premium certified cables with the coupler. And it did in, relatively brief testing I did at home. But then I took that same cable to our friend Jumble's house along with my PS4 Pro, so that I could capture the footage in that episode that was using his TV, or not capture the footage, but shoot footage off of his TV. And that cable was not cooperating with his TV at all. It was extremely spotty. So I don't really know about those cables. So right now, my best recommendation would be look into the longer premium certified cables with the whatever they call that Blackbird. It's a little white coupler. It's $20. And just make sure it's the right one that's 4K 60.
A lot of people wanting to know about capturing from old VCRs lately. There's been a
yeah, well, even my mom was like telling me, she's like, I read this article about like things that are starting to become more valuable these days. Like people are really interested in like early boom boxes, and I heard that like VHS tapes are starting to go up in price.
Yep.
So I guess it's getting to be a hot thing these days. Old VHS technology.
Yeah, it just needs to stay hot enough for us to. Oh jeez, I thought that was gonna kill me. Till we get these how to beat tapes out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to Goodwill. Like, I need 2 more like kind of good VCRs, and I can make four dubs at a time.
I really noticed when I was capturing some of that RetroTink stuff. There's definitely a noticeable difference in like the quality of between certain VCRs. Like,
oh yeah,
I was testing some of the oddball ones I've got, and they were not as good looking. Like definitely a lot of like sort of combing, interlacing weirdness. Like the scan lines were not vertically aligned as rigidly as they should be compared to my better VCRs.
Yeah, I mean, I've generally been trying to buy like newer ones for dubbing, at least. They hopefully haven't been like used so much.
This was a comment left by Harry Henry, hidden for review because it has an F-bomb in it, but he says that I will say this on the value of VHS tapes. Anyone selling a Disney VHS for thousands of dollars is nuts. I mean, I don't know if anyone's selling it for thousands of dollars is nuts. I mean, if they actually sell for that price, they're not nuts, but maybe someone who buys it for thousands of dollars is nuts.
I wonder if I should just save this so I can cut the fine for saving your life by 50%. I only need 100, like less than 100 more. Whatever those crystals are.
So you have to, I mean, it's kind of weird that this is a shop, but it's more like an ability tree.
Yes. You can buy the upgrades. It seems like there's other stuff in there too. Oh, it's boss time. Two weeks in a row, new high score. Yeah, what is for this stuff you talking about? Is that something else?
I don't know. Maybe this is the second week in a row that maybe it's a new high score for consecutive MLiG streams caught.
Oh. Oh, of course. This is just this little guy in this big cloak. His name is Ruxton.
I really like how well I got from the Grid, which is my local Goodwill operated store, game and computer stuff store. And I got 2 webcams there for $8 and $10 each. They were new in the box. And one of them was from 2007 and the other was from 2011. I put the older one upstairs, which probably won't be used much, but hey, who knows? But I put the slightly newer one down here. It's not amazing looking, but it's fine for my needs, I think. But anyway, I'll put it on top of the PVMs, and I'm really looking forward to using it on a stream because I can use the webcam that faces me when I'm at my computer, like during the beginning of the stream. And then I can change it in OBS to the webcam on the PVMs. But then that webcam will be like to my back. And so I can like, every single time I switch the camera and get ready to turn to the PVMs, I can do like a dramatic chair swim from my back. Like it's going to be this like ominous look over my back. And then it's going to... Even though you were just seeing me on the other camera a few seconds ago, it's still like like this dramatic turn reveal.
It's got to have a sound effect to it.
Yeah. I need to like install like a motorized like swivel on the chair.
And it just moves really, really slow.
Yeah, yeah. I should like replace my window over there with like the Death Star window and throne room.
That's into the level. Bamboo Creek. Oh, look at this. I'm outside. It's a pretty good looking game. Graphics are pretty nice.
Yeah. Is it integer scale?
Yeah, I don't see any shimmering, honestly. It seems pretty good to me.
So it might have that beat over over Bloodstained.
Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty good to me, based on what I'm kind of seeing here. But you never know. I could be wrong.
No?
I mean, it moves faster, so maybe. It seems overall pretty smooth, though. I feel like I can go up there. There's something up there. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna save for that 400 to get my death fine lowered.
People are having a big conversation about vinyl and modern mastering file formats and stuff like that. Like we're not audiophiles in the slightest. Like,
Yeah.
I like good clean sound, but beyond that, you know, I don't know much. You know, I'm a pretty simple man in terms of my audio setup needs. Actually, it's kind of silly looking, but also kind of awesome. Like I kind of downgraded from a 5.1 to just 2.1 a while back because it, you know, I didn't feel like I was getting that much out of 5.1, and the space savings of going 2.1 was just more appealing to me than surround sound. So but so I've been using like a center channel speaker, sort of a hefty center channel speaker, two large-ish bookshelf speakers and then two floor standing speakers for the surrounds. And I hadn't been using the floor standing speakers for anything. They've just been sitting upstairs. And I was like, it might look kind of stupid, but why don't I just put the floor standing speakers where the bookshelf speakers are, like on the far sides of my IKEA unit, and they like frame up basically the OLED TV. Like there's probably like 4 inches of clearance on either side of the TV with these floor standing speakers sitting on top of an IKEA unit. And it looks kind of stupid, but it's also kind of awesome. The reason I did that was because I wanted to put the bookshelf speakers with the where I moved the PVMs to.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a little, like a mini 2-channel amp to use with those speakers. So hopefully that'll work out nicely.
I like my 5.1. Although, if I ever see like
don't get me wrong, it's nice, but I feel like so much of what I play like doesn't even take advantage of it anyway, you know?
Yeah.
Like I feel it's relatively rare. I mean, not rare, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just, I make videos in 2-channel. I play so many games that are just 2-channel. When I do play a AAA game or whatever, like surround is nice, but don't get me wrong. Like if I moved and had the space to really like make a crazy dream setup, I mean, yeah, I would do 5.1 or 7.1 or Atmos or whatever, just because I could, and I would enjoy it. But in my current space, the space savings is more appealing than surround to me at the moment.
Well, I mean, that's something I guess I'll have to consider if I ever end up moving. You see what kind of situation I get myself into. And you just removed your Extron. I don't know if you mentioned that already.
I did remove the Extron, which saves so much bulk of wire behind my setup. I mean, it's really nice the way I've got things set up now, because I can't walk behind my entire setup, but everything is much more accessible than it used to be. I can walk behind my computer setup, and I can reach fairly easily to everything else. If I need to do anything with the wires or something. And I just pulled so much bulk of wire out, not using the Extron. I might use the Extron in some capacity upstairs somehow, maybe. But there were 2 reasons for it, really. One was I was routing RGB and component video to 2 PVMs, the OSSC and the FrameMeister. I've decided I'm going to set up the FrameMeister upstairs instead of downstairs. I'm not going to, I'm really going to have it just set up for capture purposes. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the OSSC, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense with my downstairs setup right now.
You mean the
especially
FrameMeister?
Considering, what did I say? FrameMeister. Yeah, the FrameMeister doesn't make a lot of sense for my downstairs setup right now. So I'm just going to set upstairs, really mainly for capture purposes. And maybe I can use the Extron upstairs somehow in that. So really, since I've got one of the G SCARTs that has like the SCART out and that VGA style port, but it's not really VGA. So yeah, I got that one running to the first PVM and then outputting to the second PVM. So really, there's only one thing that I am not able to do right now, and that is send component video to the PVMs. But I'm planning to get that fixed in the future. I do have a component video line run, but I'll need to make 2 outputs happen. So that's really my only limitation right now, not using the Extron. So I figured I just prefer to save how many wires I have hooked up. Plus, the Extron kind of annoys me sometimes when it the power goes out, then like it loses its routing.
Wait, yours loses its routing?
Yeah.
That's weird. I mean, I power mine off every night, and mine never loses its power.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If I left it on all the time because it would lose the routing.
Interesting. Because I mean,
and mine is a huge pain to make the routing work, because you have to, if it loses its routing and then you start pushing buttons, it doesn't want to it doesn't want to map anything. So what you have to do, you have to unplug it.
Dang it.
I think it's to hold the escape key and then plug it back in while holding the escape key. And then, for whatever reason, you can punch the buttons. So every time the power went out or something happened for whatever reason, I would have to, even though it would come back on, I have to unplug it, hold escape, plug it back in, and then reroute everything. So, there were some small issues with it like that just,
I saw someone say that I was getting into the flow of this game, and I can definitely feel the flow. Yeah, I can feel the. It has a very distinct, you kind of get into it. It feels very natural. Then I'm gonna go down here. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's crazy. It loses the sync though, because I have everything basically on like those rocker switches to power off each night, and it's just easier that way, and it helps me not draw so much power up here.
Did I link you those? Steve linked me to these micro USB pass-through cables that have a power switch on them.
Yeah, it's
Did
awesome.
you get any of them?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I've got the Retrode on it. I've got that 3DS output box on it, which I need to tinker with more, because last time I tried to use it, it wasn't working. I wasn't able to get the settings the way that I had them previously, and I was short on time though. But I need to figure that out more. I think I might put something else on one of those, but I got like a pack of 5 of them. Pretty neat.
Yeah, it's my RetroPie. I can use it on that. It's kind of nice. But I've never used that thing anyways. So
yeah.
I probably should update it and reinstall everything on it, because it's been a year probably.
I mean, it would be good for one of us to have one of those set up for capture.
Yeah. I have no idea what Elwa's Awakening is. Oh, I got the wingsuit. Press and hold B while airborne to glide.
Yeah, I've not heard of that. Although I know there's like a lot of retro inspired indie games on Switch that a lot of people seem to be pretty into. I really liked Owlboy.
Yeah, I still gotta play that.
Does anyone know if the advanced RGB mod for N64 is going to be difficult? Is this something new?
I have no idea. I'm not familiar.
That boardy advanced looks unnecessarily complicated. Is it a new board compared to the Tim Worthington board, or what? Does it offer any new features?
I'm not familiar. I haven't.
People are saying it might be pretty tricky. Whatever it is, what does it do? I want to know more.
Whoa. I have no idea when this is going to be out for PS4. I'm assuming that it's planned. It's got to be a hidden passage. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I have no idea. Like when.
Apparently, All Was Awakening is a NES style game as well.
Oh, I see. Well, I mean, generally, I have been just like waiting for physical these days. I was very excited to finally get a physical copy of Another World 20th Anniversary Edition for the PS4 from Limited Run on Friday. I actually got the classic edition that comes with like the Amiga style box and the floppy disk, all this other stuff. I very rarely go for special editions like that, but I love Another World. Like, it's just definitely one of my favorite games.
Oh, really? I'm looking at screenshots for All Was Awakening. It looks very much my style.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like you play. It kind of looks like you got like a Fire and Ice sort of type character. Except it's a platformer. He like, I'm looking at a GIF where he's like making blocks with his wand. Looks cool.
I wonder if that'll. I'll take a look. Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa. Did you get or order Golf Story or anything from Limited Run?
I did order Golf Story. I don't know anything about Golf Story other than that people think it's apparently amazing.
Yeah.
So.
But you don't have any interest. You didn't have any interest in Another World. I don't even know if you played the game?
You know, I mean, it's possible it has been on a TV and I had a controller in my hand at some point, but I can't remember for sure.
I mean, it's a pretty short game, but it's like so weird.
I mean, it's just my experience after, you know, playing a good bit of Flashback and not really feeling it kind of has me feeling like I wouldn't really like Another World either.
Well, it's a lot more simple than Flashback.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have like a gun or anything in it, do you?
No, you get a gun later on.
Because that was like the gun just made the game feel way too complicated to me.
This is 1. That's 1,000.
For PAL consoles, where are the RGB mods like for NES, SNES, Mega Drive, and Saturn? Well, Mega Drive and Saturn, you don't need RGB mods. NES and SNES, you can use the same RGB. I mean, for SNES, you don't need RGB mod unless you're using like a specific system, or I mean, in theory, you can improve the RGB quality in some systems. Like you can't make a non one chip not blurry, but NES. I mean, it's the same boards worldwide. I mean, in fact, you know, like the NES RGB mod. I mean, is designed by a guy from Australia, so you know, it's designed with PAL in mind. And then, you know, there's the whole thing about 50 hertz, 60 hertz mod switches. But I don't really know anything about that kind of stuff. You'd probably have to get your information on 50 hertz, 60 hertz switches from people in Europe, I would think.
I like this wingsuit. It's fun. It lets me hover.
So you fall slowly and then fly up
With
gusts.
the wind. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, that's kind of another mechanic that makes me think a bit about Ori. You haven't finished Ori, have you?
I haven't.
You should. It's
There's
good.
a lot that I need to like really get around to. But now that, you know, I think since we're both full time, I think that you're gonna see a lot more daytime streams from us on the Twitch.
Yeah, I think that'd be it. I'm really itching to finish Bomberman Hero.
Yeah, I mean, you may as well, you know.
So that'd be a good way to do that. Look at that big crystal.
Yeah.
Have you run across anything like that before?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
Okay, I just hadn't noticed, I guess. Yeah, I'm still waiting for PSIO 2. I don't even remember when I ordered it. I think it was last year.
It had to have been.
I mean, is that okay? Should I be concerned?
No, I think that's typical.
It's kind of wild.
I'm pretty sure that's basically what's happened to everybody else. Uh-oh, this seems... Here we go. It's going to be boss time, isn't it? So I can get another... No, not yet. Almost. What's it going to be? Whoa. It's a stone golem.
If you ordered it summer 2017, you should start getting it apparently. I wonder if I can find info in my email. Let's see.
Oh.
Oh. Really? Was it that recently I ordered it? Was it really in April this year? I might be kind of screwed then. It might be like forever.
Ugh. Gosh, almost.
Yeah, I guess I ordered it April this year, so who knows if I'll like ever see it.
You will. I think that's kind of how it has been for everybody. I know that Wolf got one, and he ordered it a long time ago. Firebrand X.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be next year. Like, is it usually like a 1 year wait, or more than a year, or less than a year? I mean, what is it typically?
I don't know. Start running before the spikes start coming out of his shoulders. So I know that you and I have like kind of talked about this like a teeny little bit, but I don't know if we've like decided officially. But Extra Life is November 3rd. That's something we want to consider doing. I mean, we had a lot of fun last year.
Yeah, didn't beat as many games as I thought I could, but
yeah. But I kind of asked people on Twitter if they thought we should do it, and there's a lot of people saying yes. We definitely should do it. Get off! Come on.
oh, I like the Konami boss flash he's doing there.
I know, I'm gonna die though. There's no time. I don't have enough time to get to him.
I mean, you were doing pretty good.
Listen,
overall.
it's not possible to beat this guy. This is the end of the game. There's nothing beyond this.
Yeah, if you get to this boss, you've already beat the game. The ending of this game is dying on this guy forever. Something else I did in my setup simplification was hooking up the NT Mini with composite and S video instead of RGB or component, which I feel is fine because I was able to. It's hooked up not going into anything other than the PVMs, because I feel like the only time I'm likely to use analog output from the NT Mini anyway would be like if it was okay for something to look like composite or S video. Like, you know, if I wanted to capture like a Atari or ColecoVision or something, you know, even though those are RF, you know, something like composite would look more representative of the system. You know, if I were to shoot something off screen, it would have more of the feel.
This is gonna be the last. Uh-oh.
Oh, is there more?
Oh, okay. I'm using the wingsuit. Whoa. Oh, jeez.
Oh no. This is making me think of the end of Rocket Knight.
Luckily, it wasn't too difficult. That's pretty cool, though. I was not expecting that.
Yeah. It always makes you nervous when that kind of thing happens, though.
There's a little bit of humor in the writing in this.
I haven't really read the text too much.
Yeah, I've kind of been off and on with it, skipping a little
someone
bit.
someone in the chat said that it's a very funny game.
He was like, thanks for destroying my golem. That's what he said. It's like I was just sitting there minding my own business, and then you engaged. What's he gonna say?
Digital palette, I would definitely. I mean, considering we don't know if the NT Mini will be made again, I mean, I would definitely recommend the AVS. You know, I mean, it's a worthy consideration regardless, because, you know, you're really impressed with the interpolation on it. The interpolation that they patched in after the fact. In fact, you just record like a ton of NES stuff that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be one of my go-to ways of recording NES, because sometimes the OSSC has problems with my setup in terms of the like the refresh and the drop signals.
Yeah,
I just feel like
why you're getting that, because it doesn't happen to me with NES. Like, I can do 5X NES no problem.
I don't know.
But yeah, but regardless, I mean, it's a great digital method for NES, honestly.
Yeah. It's just something I'm gonna stick with for the time being. If they make more NT Minis, I might get one and use that. But who knows? I do like the interpolation though. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's something the NT Mini can't do. I mean, with the NT Mini, you can still get a decent approximate. You know, the whole thing with integer scaling, you're not going to get a exactly true aspect ratio.
Right.
With integer scaling. You know, of course, it's you know, in my opinion, there's not really a true aspect ratio, because, you know, it's, you know, I like to, if I have something that can interpolate like the Super NT, like, I like to kind of eyeball it based on a CRT aspect, but one CRT is going to look a little wider than another, you know? It's
right.
You know, it's whatever feels right. It's a feeling. Aspect ratio is a feeling. To me.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to use it for
math.
everything forever, but I just, you know, like, I'm using it for certain things currently.
Where did we pick up our PVMs? We got a good number of the ones that we have from medical equipment reseller warehouses. You know, although your 20L5 came from a television broadcast station.
Right.
Probably where most of the L5 series would come from. Mine, you know, I ended up getting a 20L5 from someone who contacted us via Twitter. He had like 4 or 5 of them. And he shipped it to me from California, which was, you know, kind of a scary thing to do, but he gave me a good deal. I mean, I still paid a decent amount of money for it, but he did give me a very good deal. And thankfully, I mean, it works amazingly. It looks great. So I'm really glad I got it. I feel it's important for both of us to have a screen like that.
Yeah.
That has all those capabilities. Although we were recently talking, well, it was really your suggestion, and I kind of agree with you, and I think I'm kind of going lean doing this primarily going forward, like using the, you know, lower grade PVMs, which really are not exactly low grade.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
they don't have all the capabilities of like the 20L5 or the BVMs or whatever, it's got just a slightly softer look. It's still a really sharp look, but it is a little softer than like a 20L5. But that softness kind of is nice when you're shooting off screen.
Oh yeah, I mean, just like the lower line count, and you get like the like basically like the fatter and softer image. It's just like I think it looks better like on camera.
I agree. It's easier to shoot without it getting like moire patterns or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I think I agree with that. And the way I have rearranged my setup, it's actually going to be easier to shoot off of my quote unquote lower grade PVM anyway. So I think it will look nicer on camera. I think. My setup would probably look a lot less odd how the PVMs are if I would have accepted just having one PVM in my main setup. But like the thing that really made me feel like I just had to do it, had to have the two, was I prefer how 480i looks on a quote unquote lower grade PVM compared to the 20L5. Because the 20L5 does that weird thing where it's got like each field, you got the two fields, then you got another pair of fields. There's like this gap between the pairs, and it goes that way all across the screen, where there's this gap in the a 480i image is supposed to feel kind of contiguous. It's not really supposed to be
right
divided by scan lines, and it looks much more like I think it's supposed to on sort of the medical monitors, for example. And so that was the big thing that I was like, I can't have just one PVM in the setup. I've got a 13-incher, and I briefly thought about setting up like the 20L5 with the 13-incher. It's a really good 13-incher. But I was looking at it when I was working on some of the Retrode stuff. I was trying Chrono Cross on it. Mm-hmm. I noticed that it's got the gaps. I don't know what the line count is on it. Well, the line count is really more of a horizontal. I think when they say the line count, I'm pretty sure that means something about horizontal resolution, not.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know what's up with that, but it does have that it's not as much as the 20L5, but it's still got to some extent that sort of separated interlaced field thing.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah, so I was like, well, I still want to use the medical monitors. I had a L2MD setup down here in my main setup.
And you switched over to like the Olympus, right?
I switched over to the Olympus M2,
which is really just a Sony monitor anyway.
It is a Sony. Yes, it's a Sony monitor, but it's 2 years newer than the other M2s. At least the M2s that were at the facility I was looking at. So it's 2 years newer, and it looks just as good, if not better. And I kind of just like the styling of it. I really want it just because it's kind of a unique thing. It's like, oh, cool, it's an Olympus.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have an affinity for Olympus. My first digital camera was an Olympus, and I've got like a lot of my lenses that I use now with my Panasonic camera are Olympus lenses. So I don't know. Kind of a fun thing to have an Olympus PVM.
Oh yeah.
And it's really cool too because it's got 2 RGB/component inputs without the need for an expansion card. So that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, kind of like the one that you got me as well, right? Where he has.
Yeah. Yours is Sony branded, but it's the same model. It's the same model. It's just, you know, I don't really know why that happened. Why Olympus sold some Sony PVMs under their own brand, but it's the exact same tube, exact same connections. But that might be how I play a lot of 480i games going forward. Once I get my chair delivered, like I think I'm going to use the PVMs a lot more with that chair.
Yeah, I mean, generally you don't use them very much, just in general, right now these days.
I don't like. I use them a lot for testing because it's just so easy to just turn the PVM on and stuff, right. And obviously for shooting off of. But I don't use them in practice as much as I really want to, mostly just because of comfort reasons. You know, it's just it's just more comfortable to play on the big screen from my couch. But I do think I'll use it more. Controller extensions might be an issue to some extent, although for Sega systems, I've moved the Sega systems to be right next to the PVM, so that won't be an issue. In fact, it actually might become my preferred way to play Genesis, if only because the controller extensions I have for Genesis are garbage. They just
I mean,
I have good connection at all.
The official ones are really good. But I'm finding like third party are not very good at all. I get the wingsuit attack.
Yeah, I've got two, and they do not work well at all. Like they kind of started getting even worse. Like I used to be able to use them pretty consistently, but like as long as like where the controllers were connecting, where the cord and the extension and the controller were connecting, like as long as that like didn't move ever, like it would be fine. But now like it just, even without moving it, it'll just shut off. I hate it. So like maybe I'll get one of the Joy's controllers, so I have more flexibility in where I sit when I play. But for the foreseeable future, it might be just playing on the PVMs for the Genesis. I've got good Dreamcast extensions and good Saturn extensions. I actually really like how the Sega systems look where I set them up. It's pretty neat. There's room for a Game Gear. I said that was going to be one of my goals for my like main hardware goal for this year was to get a Game Gear, and it hasn't happened yet. I need to prioritize that. Of course, a Game Gear with RGB output and controller ports.
Yeah.
Need to make it happen. I was thinking about the Game Gear games that I've already bought. I've got 5 Game Gear games, and only one of them is not a Disney game. For whatever random reason. Like, I've got 2 Donald Duck games. I've got Land of Illusion. I've got Aladdin and Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden would be a fun. Whoa.
I'm going to go to the bathroom.
All right. So I guess I don't take a hit when I get turned into a shroom. This game is pretty cool. Falling apart. No. Jeez. It's a tougher boss than I was expecting.
When I was setting up my Sega systems, I was making sure that I had the shelves at high enough of a height to, you know, open the Saturn and the Dreamcast and have high enough clearance for the cartridges for the Master System and Genesis. Thank goodness I don't have a 32X, because it would have caused a lot of problems. But
You may have to get one day.
yeah, I mean, I'll concede that you know the path that I am on definitely, you know, makes me feel like I could end up with one day, but I don't have a lot of interest in it. Like, the only thing I really have any interest in is Doom. But yeah, so anyway, because of that, because of testing the clearance with the cartridges, my Master System presently has Super Wonder Boy and Super Monster Land.
Oh.
And system.
Oh, look. I don't know if I'm breaking the game there for a second there.
You had a pretty good pattern going there.
Yeah. Now that I can attack when I'm using the wingsuit.
Yeah, for the Game Gear, I'm probably going to get a recapped Game Gear rather than a Game Gear that needs to be recapped.
Well, there's a RGB mod waiting for a Game Gear that's good for you.
Right. You've got the board, right?
Voltar has it right now, actually. So
okay, Voltar's got the board.
Right.
Okay. Now, is that mod is compatible with like
everything?
Controller port, controller.
Yeah, there's a controller port in that too.
But it's not one that is like the McWill screen or whatever.
Right. And you were planning on using a.
No, I really have no interest in that. Like, I mean, the McWill screen is cool, but like the scaling issues are just too much of a. I would never actually use it that way because of the scale.
I mean, I agree with. I agree.
So I just want the RGB. RGB and controller output. I don't even care if the screen works, to be honest. It would work though, right? Or would it?
The what?
With that mod. Would the screen work?
It'll work, but if you want to play like Master System games, it has to be removed. Or not removed, but like disabled. For some reason, like the Tim Worthington mod will not work if it's like a Master System game on a Game Gear card.
Oh, like Castle of Illusion.
Right.
Well, it's okay for the screen to be disabled in that case, because I actually really want to get the Game Gear version of Castle of Illusion. There was a copy at one of my local stores a while back, and I really regret that I didn't buy it at the time. Because it's a lot cheaper than getting the Master System.
Right, right. Look at this. Look at the dart, like the grappling hook. Kind of cool.
Do you select some of the things, or are they all just on different buttons?
They're all just on different buttons.
So you haven't gotten, I guess, to the point in the game where it like becomes something completely different, like you were saying.
Well, I'm at the base of the mountains. I'm assuming that's going to happen soon.
But you don't.
I have no idea what it becomes.
You just heard that
it changes.
Really changes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious, like if it could be like something super crazy, like yeah, I've always been like interested in the idea of like, you know, a movie that, you know, if you didn't know what you were getting into going into it, and like the first half of the movie turns out to be like a completely different genre from the second half. Like I think of like
From Dusk Till Dawn is like that.
From Dusk Till Dawn is like, you know, probably the best example of that, but I knew about that before seeing it, but
I mean, there's a couple. The movies by this guy, I don't remember what his name was, but he did a couple of good movies that are very much like that. Like the Descent is like that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen The Descent.
And that same guy did this movie called Dog Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, don't tell me what the change is, because I'm curious. So has he done other movies like that, or is Dog Soldiers the only one that you would say?
Yeah, it's the only one that I can think of that is really like that.
I mean, I didn't really think of that while I was watching The Descent, but that definitely makes sense when you put it that way. Like, I was going into The Descent realizing it was a horror movie.
I see. Yeah.
And I didn't, but the nature of what kind of horror I didn't know, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Cloverfield Lane, that example works in some ways there.
Yeah, because I mean, it doesn't really change until like the very end.
The very
end. It's like not even really the I don't know. It's almost like it was just like tacked on.
I liked how that worked.
Oh, like, absolutely.
A lot of I think a lot of people in general, like, I have a much higher tolerance for like crazy out of nowhere twists that, you know, some people are like, oh, that's stupid. Like, I haven't played I haven't played any Star Ocean games, but I think it's the PS2 one that people really hate the twist on that, and I know what the twist is, and like I'd have to play the game to know how I really feel about the twist, but like, you know, that kind of thing where like the entire nature of the world is not what it seems, you know? Like, I think a lot of people like really hate that kind of twist, but I can kind of be into it sometimes.
I heard what the twist was in that, and I thought it sounded stupid. But you know, like I'm usually like pretty open to it, but I mean, I guess it just depends on how stupid it is. But yes, I saw someone say the beginning of The Descent is way scarier. And yes, I mean, I never thought I was like claustrophobic about anything until I saw that movie. And That part where she's like trapped in the little crawl space, like I couldn't watch it.
Really?
Yeah.
See, like, I mean, I think if I was like in a real life and death situation, I would feel claustrophobic, but I don't really feel claustrophobic at all. But yeah, like spelunking, like I would never.
Yeah, I wouldn't
like
even,
never.
You'd never just do that in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, me either.
Like, just no.
Yeah, I mean, you basically could not convince me to do something like that ever. And especially like after seeing that movie, it's like definitely not. And it doesn't have anything to do with like the creatures living underground. It has more to do with like just being trapped in a crawl space like that.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff like they add, like this grappling hook, like kind of changes a lot of the flow of everything. That's pretty cool.
I mean, what if you were speculating maybe the big change is that it becomes more like a Metroidvania, but what if, like,
I'm pretty sure.
What if it's just like a weapon you get that like completely changes how you move around?
It could be.
Like, what if you like get an airplane and the rest of the game becomes like a shooter?
Well, that'd be pretty interesting. Jeez. Trying to figure out how to do this. Dang. Well, I'm gonna die repeatedly trying to do this part.
Oh yeah, that looks rough. Good thing they put a save point where they did.
Well, that's probably on purpose. I mean, just
yeah.
I got 3 of these things. I wish I could go upwards with this thing.
Oh, it's only horizontal, huh?
Yeah. I mean, does this seem like something you're like will definitely buy?
Oh yeah, I mean physical release, like. Of course, I sometimes I'm not paying enough attention these days, so I'm always counting on you to let me know when these things are like available.
Well, hopefully, I mean, I think since now this will become like your full-time thing, you'll probably be able to pay attention a little bit more. I think these now.
Yeah. It'll probably take some time to settle back into a groove of paying attention to things, though. I've got so used to not paying attention to things lately. But you know what kinds of things I'm interested in. Usually, let me know anyway.
Yeah.
But I always want to know when physical copies of games I'd like are coming in. am I going to come back to Twitter? I don't know. I kind of wondered if I might end up doing something like that.
Well, you should definitely, at least for my sake, please like just pay more attention to the
MLiG Twitter.
Yes, because I mean, we are absolutely like in this together, and we need to be a team in that respect for sure.
Does it become crowded these days? Or,
no, not at all. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and I mean, I think there's like a lot of stuff that's, you know, it's good for us to both be able to respond if people are asking about stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of it was like I just like kind of stopped paying attention to Twitter a lot, and then like part of that was definitely because like my Twitter app on my phone like just started being really bad, and like I just never bothered to get a replacement. So like I could see myself using it more and more if I just installed a decent Twitter app.
Yeah, I mean, for, like on your computer, I recommend, what do I use? Tweetin'. It's pretty good.
Tweetin'?
Yeah. Tweet 10. The carrier. Oh no, everyone knows it's the runner. It's the courier. The message bearer.
This is gonna be a Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright style fight, huh?
This move seems pretty powerful.
How long have you had that move?
That's what I use.
Well, that's what you use on that lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that just seems like a good way to just like rack up damage with like relatively little risk to yourself.
Yeah. Oh, wrong way. Oh, I forgot to restore all my health.
Oops.
I like that they like tag out. Yeah. I wish I could reassign certain buttons. I like to put certain things on shoulder buttons. Like I would love to put the grappling hook. Seems like a good shoulder button. I don't know if I can. No.
I have a project that I'm working on called the Neo Geo 6-slot MVS. So I've been looking for materials and parts and other things, looking for enclosure housing for its help requests. I mean, I wouldn't know what kind of enclosure to use for a 6-slot MVS. So that sounds like it'd be a pretty large console. For sure. At least the green one's flashing. Oh, geez, I didn't realize it's 11 o'clock.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I'll see if I can beat these guys, and we'll call it. I'm worn out, so I will not play for that.
Do you feel like playing the game has helped you forget somewhat how worn out you are?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and plus we have a stream tomorrow afternoon, so that'll be nice too. Come on.
What's your favorite Xbox 360 / PS3 game? That's a pretty broad question there. That's a really tough thing to answer because, like, so many of those games have gotten like, remastered editions or whatever on PS4 and such. So that's like, up until Dark Souls Remastered came out, like I might have said like maybe that in terms of like a game that you could still only play on that generation of platform. But in terms of some that's still stuck only on it, I'm not sure. Like it's a generation I don't really think about a lot lately.
Right.
Like there's kind of like the immediately past generation, like, kind of hits this valley of disinterest, and then like as more time passes, then it's kind of like, oh, kind of interested in that again. Like I've actually went through a phase of really being interested in 360 because of backwards compatibility and stuff, but like in the past while, I can't really think of a lot else I want to get on 360 just because of backwards compatibility. I'm sure I'll come up with some more stuff, but I feel like I've kind of hit a wall on things I want to get for 360 or PS3. I haven't bought anything for PS3 in so long.
I'm gonna get to my first save spot. I'm at the glacial peak, which is where it says I needed to get to.
Yes, Effie, we're Backlogger is streaming tomorrow night, but prior to that, Coury and I are going to be streaming in the afternoon tomorrow to celebrate 5 years of my life in gaming.
Yep.
So,
which is crazy. It's just, that's insane.
It is insane. And total coincidence that coincides with, my first weekday as a, only MLiG employee.
515. I've almost filled out my entire upgrade tree.
Well, maybe the game really will change soon.
I'm gonna go back to the title screen and see what it says here. It tells me a percentage of the game I am. I don't know. There was a lot of empty space on the save file screen. Doesn't it look like that?
Yeah.
So
no, I'm not seeing a percentage though.
No.
Interesting.
Yep, 5 years. 5 years tomorrow.
And we'll are we going to stream that here on YouTube, or we're not going?
Yeah, we should. I think we should do it on YouTube.
Yeah, because it's an event.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. I mean, we should do like special things like that. But I mean, we'll like tweet about it too that we're gonna do it like 12:30, 1-ish, I think. I'll probably eat my lunch while you're playing. I think.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. It's, you know, just gonna be able to do that in the middle of the day, totally guilt free.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to set 1 p.m. is the time?
Yeah. Let's do that. If you wanna, we'll put together a thumbnail after this.
Yeah. Or I can just do it in the afternoon tomorrow. So
yeah. Either way, we will see you tomorrow afternoon, and I'm gonna go to bed. in a few minutes, I'm going to.
All right.
But thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you soon.
See you tomorrow.
Good night.
1 p.m.